Which is more impressive, getting lean and shredded or getting big and bulky? Well, according to most statistics and most studies, it is harder to get big and bulky. According to the website called The Art of Manliness, because getting bigger and stronger is harder to do and takes more time than it does to lose body fat, it is actually harder to get bigger and stronger. What's more, having more muscle mass and strength provides a much bigger return on investment than losing body fat. When you increase muscle and strength, losing body fat becomes a lot easier later on. This is a good point. It is a much bigger time investment to build a physique that is big as compared to being very lean, light, and having super low body fat. Losing body fat is pretty much effortless as long as you are in a caloric deficit. I would add further also, though, that you should at least have a somewhat high protein diet if you're going to try to cut body fat, because I've tried low protein and it screwed up my body composition. So, with all this considered, I would say I agree with this, that it is a lot harder to get big and bulky. And in fact, I'm looking at some other articles right now that would be in agreement. I'm looking at an article on Quora right now, and this also supports the fact that it's harder to get big. Getting jacked is impressive because it's hard to do, and not a lot of people have that. If you go to any local gym, you will notice that more people in there are like lean, as in like having like the runner's physique or something like that, as compared to people who are jacked, even if the jacked people are not super lean. Just go to any local gym, YMCA, Planet Fitness, Crunch Fitness, whatever your local facility is, and just take a mental note. What are you going to see? Most people in there are in those two categories. They're either super lean but not very big, or they're super big but like fat with like out a whole lot of muscle definition. The people who are closer to the middle, is very hard to find that. Extremely hard. And according to my own experience, I would say that this is probably true as well. Pretty much every year except for 2020 and 2021, because I didn't do any bulks, I've done a bulk and I've never gained a significant amount of muscle. It's always like maybe 1 pound at the very most. But I normally have to cut down to like around 110 pounds. Because I'm not very tall. I'm like 5'4", 5'5"-ish. So I've experienced this firsthand, just how hard it is to get big. Over time, though, I still believe that I'll still gain a little bit more muscle as I continue with this fitness crap, or whatever you want to call it. However, it is extremely difficult and involved to try to build the stereotypical bodybuilder physique. That's why so many people do steroids. Even people that look like crap. Think about Jason Blaha. He does steroids and he looks like complete utter dog shit. Why is that? It's because it's so damn hard to recreate that look. And if you are genetically blessed to have a jacked physique, then you should capitalize on it. There's some people who are just built for sports. I'm not somebody who's really been built for that kind of stuff. I'm more of an academic. I'm more of an artist. That's why I recently focused more on the martial arts side of things and the more cardio-based activities instead of the bodybuilding and calisthenics stuff, because I don't have the genetics to build muscle. Even though martial arts is super hard, it's the secondary evil compared to bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is considered the hardest sport in the world. Why is that? It's because it's 90% out of your control. It's based on your genetics. Martial arts is also based on your genetics, but it's less. In other words, compared to bodybuilding in martial arts, you can actually use your work ethic to your advantage, and you can, in fact, outwork your competition if you just put in the time. Because I've noticed this after tapping out a lot of people and knocking people on the ground in sparring matches, is that if you have enough skill, the size advantage or disadvantage doesn't matter anymore. You just apply the correct technique at the right time and you can get the upper hand. It doesn't matter how big you are, unless you are like maybe extremely small trying to fight somebody who's a lot bigger. But for the most part, with martial arts, you can just continue to grind and learn more skills, and you can beat pretty much anyone. As compared to bodybuilding, it's not so much the case. That's why pretty much 100% of people who do bodybuilding as a career are using performance-enhancing drugs. And in fact, I would say there's probably never been a natural bodybuilder that's made a living with it ever since recent times. Look at what they're going up against. People like Phil Heath, Jay Cutler, all those guys are not only have good genetics, but they're also blasting substances. So, with all these things considered, back to the point of the bulky physique versus the shredded physique, yes, the bulky physique is more impressive because there's so much of it that's out of one's control. The correct term would also be having a physique that's built like a brick house. You ever seen people who are actually, on paper, they're overweight, but they don't quite look like it. They look normal. They look actually, sometimes they look skinny, but on paper, their numbers are off. They have a BMI of like 26 to 27, yet they look fantastic and they don't show any signs of high body fat. Again, it's genetics. Some people just, they have the best bone structure, fat distribution, and just muscle shape and insertions. It goes for both men and women. Women too. Women who hardly store any body fat on their stomach. They have wide hips and narrow shoulders. That's pretty much like the female equivalent to the bodybuilder genetics physique. So, in conclusion, it is of my opinion, based on the research, that obtaining a big and bulky physique is much harder and much more impressive. And if given the choice, I would choose the big and bulky physique. Anyways, that is all I wanted to say in this video. I'll talk to you in another one. Peace out.